Welcome to this dark web workshop hosted by the World Resources webinar. We thank you from wherever you're joining over the globe. I know we have a lineup of experts on the topic, and this workshop on the dark web aims to give you a deeper understanding of it, some of the challenges, the threats, and how you can better prepare for it. I am Debra Ferdinand James. I'm a senior lecturer at the University of the West Indies Mona Campus School of Education, and I'll be your host. Each presenter will have 25 minutes to present, and then that would be followed by a 5-minute question and answer period. I ask you to keep your mics and your webcams closed during the presentation. Please keep your mics closed so that we would not have distractions during the presentations, which plan to be very interesting given the topic of the dark web. We have 3 well-known experts, and so I'll ask our first presenter to go ahead and upload his presentation while I introduce him. So you may share your screen. In the meantime, Dr. Saifullah. Dr. Saifullah currently works as an assistant professor in the School of Computer and Information Sciences, University of Hyderabad. He holds a PhD in computer science and engineering from Anna University, Chennai, India. And he also received a gold medal for academic excellence from Madras Education Society. He guided and continues to guide MTech projects and multiple PhD students. He has worked in the research and development divisions of top software organizations for almost a decade. And he actually was responsible in his last assignment at Cisco Systems, Bangalore, for the content or server load balancer innovation. He also received a couple of patent submission awards for innovative work and received the Cisco Star Award in the year 2011 for his outstanding performance in software development. His areas of research, understandably, are network traffic analysis, data center products, quantum communications. He published multiple papers, over 20 papers in peer-reviewed international journals, to include Springer and IEEE, and presented papers, over 10 papers at reputable international and national conferences. It is my pleasure to present to you Dr. Saifullah. His topic is Understanding the Dark Web. You may proceed, Dr. Saifullah.
Thank you, madam, for the nice introduction, and thanks to WRW, World Resources webinar, for giving me this opportunity, Dr. Uma Krishnan. Special thanks to him. Yeah, welcome all for this presentation on this topic, dark web. We'll be exploring the various layers of the internet, including the surface web and deep web, dark web, how they differ from one another. There are differences, and we will delve into the dangers of the dark web and its impact on cybersecurity and how AI and law enforcement are involved here. This overview aims to provide a comprehensive understanding of hidden aspects of the internet. Let me explain the outline of this talk. Here is the outline of what I will be covering in this presentation. First is what is the dark web? the evolution and tools of the dark web marketplaces and the dangers they present, the role of AI in cybercrime on the dark web, the dark web's impact on global security, cybersecurity, and a list of a review of relevant research papers and conclusion and references follow. What is the dark web? The dark web is the part of the internet that is not indexed by traditional search engines, meaning it is hidden from regular users and can only be accessed through special browsers like Tor. I'll explain what is Tor. To fully understand it, we need to look into it, the structure of the web. If you see the picture which is shown in the right side of the slide, it has an iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is the surface web, the normal regular web. The visible part of the web is called, whatever we access, accessible to everyone. That is surface web. And the below that is the deep web, content not indexed but accessible through standard browsers. Our browsers, like our regular browsers, can access it, such as academic and medical records are the examples. We'll go into more details. And the dark web is the bottom of the iceberg. It is hidden and anonymous part of the deep web, which is designed for the secrecy. So you might have come across about ClearNet. ClearNet and the surface web both are same. Whatever we are accessing, which is indexed by the search engines like the Google and Bing, and can be uh, accessed through the regular web browsers like the Google Chrome and Firefox. Regular users, regular web browsers can access this content. Although it makes up a small fraction of the total internet, it is what most people use daily for tasks like reading news, shopping, so the regular web. And this is what the ClearNet. So characteristics of the ClearNet are mostly known to us. So the ClearNet is public and requires no special software to access. So for the dark web, we need a special tool or special browser like Tor. So, but for the ClearNet or the surface web, whatever we are accessing, we access using the usual browsers like the Google Chrome and other browsers. So examples of the ClearNet, if you see here, you can easily understand. The top part of the iceberg is called the surface web or the clear net. So here you have the blogs and the other websites, news sites, news outlets, public websites, e-commerce sites, social media platforms. All of this information is accessible by everyone with an internet connection and a regular web browser, not the specialized web browser. So, then what is the darknet? Darknet, the dark web and darknet are closely related. So, dark web is the collection of websites and services hosted on darknets, accessed by tools like Tor. But darknet is the private network that allows infamous communications and infrastructure that supports the dark web. So basically, dark net is the network, like the clear net for the surface web. Dark net is the infrastructure for the dark web. Then what are the differences between the surface web, clear, deep web, and the dark web? So little already explained. So that to understand the distinction, think of the internet as a iceberg. The surface web is the tip of the iceberg, visible and accessible to all. The deep web sits just below the surface and includes the private or hidden content like databases. The medical databases or the educational databases, which are not accessible to all, but the regular browsers using the permissions or the security, it is accessible. The dark web is the deepest and hidden layer, often associated with, often, not all, often associated with the illegal activities, but also used for privacy and secure communications. So that is the difference between uh, these dark web, deep web, and the surface web. So let us see how this dark web has evolved. The evolution of dark web can be traced back to the ARPANET. So the internet, how it started. ARPANET, Advanced Research Projects Agency, which is the part of the US Department of Defense, which has started the ARPANET. So ARPANET, the TCP/IP has taken birth after that. This is the one. Hello, hello. Hi. Yes, the what? No, no, no. I mean, the workshop has started. It is going on, so let them join in. I am in the presentation, so we'll talk later. Sorry for the disturbance. Many people are interested and then joining. So, the birth of the TCP/IP, many of you may be knowing the transmission control protocol or the internet protocol. This is where the packet switching has started. From there, internet has started, and from the internet, the overlay networks has given birth to the dark web. So the early anonymous networks, those dark webs started in the 1990s, which concerns about online privacy. So that is where, because ARPANET did not have any security in the design, so security became an issue. So because of that, privacy was a concern. So Freenet was designed first. Freenet allowed users to share files anonymously. We will see there the different tools which are used for the deep web and the dark web. So the browser which is used for the dark web is called Tor, Tor, Tor. So this because of its operations, it is called the Tor. The expansion is the onion router. Why onion has come into picture here is because of its operation, how it happens. This was developed by US Naval Research Laboratory in the early 2000s, and TAR's primary goal was to protect users' anonymity. The most widely used tool for accessing dark web is this TAR. And the other tools are I2P and Freenet. The alternatives for dark web networks. I2P stands for Invisible Internet Project. So using this also, dark web is accessible. This focuses on anonymous peer-to-peer communication, whereas Tor focuses on the web browsing. And Freenet allows users to anonymously share and publish content. So as already explained, the Tor and I2P are Freenet. These kind of tools are required to access the darknet. Let us see more on to these tools. Before going into the tools, let us see the uses of the dark web. So the legitimate users privacy for journalists and activists because in the oppressive regimes, so this is the requirement because um, even though it has the illegitimate use, but there is some legitimate also because journalists, whistleblowers, and activists use it for secure communication in oppressive regimes. And illegal actions are also going on the dark web. So, like the black markets and illegal services, there are markets for this. We will see those markets also. So in the 21st century, the dark web evolved into a vast ground of marketplace, attracting both privacy advocates and criminals. So the criminals uses very much this dark web. This era also saw the rise of infamous dark web platforms like Silk Road, a marketplace for illegal goods. So the name of the marketplace is called Silk Road. It was closed. So the other notable marketplaces are Alphabet, Hansa, and these also got shut down, but they were active few years back. And the current trends, decentralization and law enforcement operations have done it. So the security and anonymity is a topic of the dark web. So how security is done is using the encryption. So it relies on the encryption to maintain user anonymity with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin facilitating transactions. So the people use for this purpose also. However, anonymity is not foolproof. Law enforcement agencies continue to monitor activities and users face significant risks from scams and malware also. Even though most of the time people are not caught, but their law enforcement agencies are there which are monitoring. So the dangers of the dark web are including illegal activities like drug trafficking, human trafficking, these kind of things are happening. Many sites harbor malware, and accessing the dark web can also bring legal scrutiny, even if one is not involved in the illegal activities. Just accessing the dark web itself will give the problem of legal uh, monitoring. So, as the dark web grew, so did the law enforcement efforts to monitor and control it. And it has the fight against illegal activities on the dark web using the law enforcement agencies. So in 2003, Silk Web was closed, and in 2004, other the marketplaces were shut down. That operation was called Onimus in 2014, and that there are techniques to track the transactions and market infiltration. So the ethical and moral considerations are the dark web presents important ethical dilemmas. While it serves as a tool for privacy and freedom of speech, it also harbors criminal activities. This raises the question, should access to the dark web be restricted for security reasons, or should we prioritize freedom and privacy? So even though it provides freedom and privacy, it gives the way for the illegal activities. That's why the dilemma is there. So as already said, let us go into more into the tools. The tools to access this dark web are the Tor, I2P, and Freenet. So which are designed to anonymize user traffic, making it difficult to trace the online activity. The well-known tool is the TOR, the online router, TOR. So it is one of the most popular tools. It anonymizes user traffic by routing it through multiple volunteer operated servers. So basically, there are thousands of overlay networks, relays, more than 7,000. Overlay network, which is a virtual network on top of the physical network. So Tor uses that so that the anonymity, the user identity, and the location are concealed, hidden. So how it works is Tor works by encrypting the internet traffic and routing it through a series of volunteer operated nodes. So that may be thousands or more. So each node peels away a layer of encryption, similar to peeling an onion. That's why the name has come onion router, which ensures that the user's identity and activity remains anonymous. So the other tool is the I2P, the Invisible Internet Project. The Invisible Internet Project, I2P, is another anonymous network layer, but it focuses more on peer-to-peer communication, whereas Tor focuses on the web browsing. It creates private censorship-resistant communication channels, and it is often used for anonymous file sharing and messaging. How it works is I2P uses a different method from Tor. It creates an encrypted network of peers, allowing users to anonymously communicate and share files. I2P's architecture focuses on hiding the user's location and activity. The third tool is the Freenet. Freenet is a decentralized network designed to resist censorship. Users can anonymously publish, share, and browse content. Uh, Sorry to disturb. How many of the students have joined? Because there are messages from others that the link is not shared to the people.
Okay, we can put it in, Dr. Krishnan, I would need you to handle that aspect because I can only put the link in the chat, but that would not help the students at this point. But we
Oh,
only have 11 participants thus far, so
oh, sorry. Yeah, that is why I am getting so many messages. It seems the link is not shared by the email.
No,
Dr. Krishnan,
it
yeah,
is not shared by the email. You can, it is shared only through WhatsApp.
okay,
I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Give me a minute. I am sharing them.
Yeah, let share it to your students. No issues.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Dr. Saifullah,
Yeah.
we will give you an additional 5 minutes because we realize that you would like your students to come in.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for giving me more time. So, thank you. Freenet is a decentralized network designed to resist censorship. So basically, the difference between these Tor, I2P, and Freenet is used to create dark sites and are not indexed by search engines, providing a high level of anonymity. How Freenet works? Freenet uses a decentralized network where content is distributed across all users' computers. When users request content, it is retrieved from different parts of the network, making it difficult to trace who accessed or uploaded the content. So this is the comparison of Tor, I2P, and Freenet. Tor is primarily used for anonymous browsing, while I2P focuses on peer-to-peer communication. Freenet is best suited for censorship-resistant publishing. Each tool has unique strengths, and the choice depends on the user's needs. So whether for the web browsing or peer-to-peer communication, file sharing, or for publishing, for different purposes, different tools. So security and risks of using dark web tools. While these tools provide anonymity, they are not foolproof. Law enforcement agencies can still monitor traffic patterns and users at risk of scams, malware, and phishing. It's important to use additional security measures like VPNs and encryption when using the dark web, because law enforcement agencies can still monitor. So that is a little introduction about the tools, and AI is playing an important role in the dark web cybercrime. AI tools automate phishing, creating convincing fake emails and websites. AI is helpful to criminals like this. AI is used for targeted cyber attacks such as spear phishing campaigns. AI-driven malware adopts new security measures in real time. And in fact, it has given cybercrime as a service. Uh, Dark web forums and marketplaces offer hacking tools for rent. Criminals can buy pre-packaged malware, ransomware, and phishing kits. This lowers the entry barrier for cyber criminals, leading to an increase in attacks. So that's how dark web is endangering the internet. So threats to critical infrastructure. Dark web tools are increasingly used to target critical infrastructure, energy grids, healthcare transportation systems. Growing concerns over nation state actors using the dark web for espionage. So social media is also playing an important role for advertising these dark web services. Cyber criminals recruit and communicate via social media platforms. Fake accounts and bots are used to spread phishing links and malware. So that's how social media is helping the criminals. Future of cyber Future of cybercrime legislation. Governments are introducing stricter laws to monitor the dark web, increasing international cooperation to track cyber criminals across borders. However, these laws risk infringing on privacy and freedom of speech. So, both sides are there. And not only that, for cryptocurrency and its impact on cybercrime, cryptocurrencies enable anonymous transactions on the dark web. Bitcoin, Monero are popular for illicit activities due to privacy features. Rising regulations and blockchain analysis tools may disrupt criminal activities. So, dark web is helping criminals like this. Dark web's impact on global security, cybersecurity. Cyber attacks originating from the dark web have global implications. Cyber criminals can target organizations and governments across borders. So, using this dark web, because it is hiding the identity and the location, that's why criminals are using this. International, international efforts are required to combat these growing threats.
You have 2 more minutes.
Yeah, okay. The dark web will, future, the dark web will continue to evolve with advances in encryption and anonymous communication technologies, because the encryption and anonymous communication technologies are growing. It will remain a space for both legitimate privacy concerns and illicit activities. posing challenges for law enforcement and policymakers. So the predictions are advanced anonymity technologies and increased law enforcement capabilities are growing. So I have these research papers in top journals or top publishers, IEEE, ACM, elsewhere. Springer have multiple publications on this dark web, starting from the surveys to the going into the marketplaces tools. So if you want these papers, you can actually access my PPT or the PDF. So these are the list of important papers on this topic, dark web. And the conclusion is the dark web is complex, serving both privacy advocates and criminals. The darknet serves as a double-edged sword, a space for privacy and anonymity versus a hub for illegal activities. Those implications of the darknet for society, including the need for awareness and education about its risks and benefits. So the final thought is the balance between privacy and security shapes its future. These are few of the references to go into more question answers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saifullah, for that insight, shedding light on the dark web and helping us to have a sort of foundation in understanding it so that the other presentations then will build on what you have shared with us. The floor is now open for any questions to Dr. Saifullah on his presentation, Understanding the Dark Web. In the meantime, Dr. Saifullah, could you say how successful the law enforcement has been, in monitoring the activities of the dark web?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, I did present that in 2013, this Silk Road was in a marketplace for this dark web activities. It was closed by the government agencies. And in 2004, the other marketplaces like the Alpha and Hansa, those were closed. So mostly it is successful.
Okay. This is good. This is very encouraging to know.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, not 100%. It's more.
Okay, we're going to ask you to close your mics, please. If you have a question, you can type it in the chat or raise your hand and I'll allow you to speak. Do we have a question?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
Please, I want to know the kind of the best encryption technique we can use in working on dark web.
Yeah, the encryption techniques actually, yeah, I mean, whatever is best in the market, it is used because advanced encryption standard with the keys like bigger keys 128 256 keys, they give higher encryption, so those are the used bit lengths for the encryption.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, do we have any other questions, comments? All right, we'd like to thank Dr. Saifullah for that insightful presentation. And we wish you all the best with your research because it's an area that is needed. And if we can ask you to stay on for the rest of the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, you can stop sharing now. Okay. And our next presenter is Dr. Pankaj. And I'll ask you, Dr. Pankaj, to go ahead and upload while I give your introduction. Dr. Pankaj is currently working as a professor and deputy head in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SKIT, Jaipur, India, which is an accredited institution. He has more than 19 years of experience in teaching and has published over 100 papers in many reputable journals with high index outlets. He holds 8 international patents from Australia, Germany, South Africa, and the US, and including, in addition, 26 patents and 2 copyrights from India, 5 authored books, 4 edited books, and several book chapters. He has been awarded Best Paper Awards on several occasions and other recognitions, and he is a senior member of IEEE. His area of research centers around ACM, CSI, to include ISTE, and he has supervised and continues to co-supervise and supervise a number of PhDs students and research associates. He has chaired technical sessions in various international conferences and contributed as a resource person in various faculty development professional workshops. He's also acting as a guest editor of various reputable journals, conference proceedings, and Bentham ambassador of Bentham Science Publisher. His area of interest includes high-performance computing, cloud computing, information security, big data analytics, artificial intelligence, intellectual property right, and Internet of Things. His presentation is entitled Navigating the Deep and Dark Web, Myths versus Reality. I now hand you over to Dr. Pankaj to proceed with his presentation. Welcome, Dr. Pankaj. You may proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Debra, for nice introduction. So, I will present navigating the deep and dark web myths and reality. So, starting with this agenda, I will cover the introduction to the deep and dark web, then key differences between surface web, deep web, dark web, common myths about the dark web, realities of the dark web, what really happens, ethical and legal considerations, self-navigation tips, and then conclude. So, first, dark web, it is the part of the World Wide Web that is only accessible through special software. So it is part of the deep web accessible through specific software, and purpose of the dark web is that it is created by the US government and it allowed intelligence operatives to communicate anonymously, and the Tor browser it can use. So soon after it was released to public. So the part of the dark web you can see. First, the dark web is the World Wide Web and content that exists on darknets. So you can see the overall networks which use the public internet but which require specific software configuration or authorization to access. So the dark web forms a small part of deep web and the part of the web not indexed by search engines. Although sometimes the term deep web is mistakenly used to refer specifically to the dark. So you can see the dark web. It is the web where it consists the part of the internet and not indexed by standard search engines, and the dark nets which constitute the dark web include small friend to friend peer-to-peer networks, as well as large and popular networks like Freenet, I2P, and Tor, and operated by public organizations and many more. So you can see the structure of web. So there are three types of web: surface web, deep web, and dark. So in surface web, it is publicly accessible and indexed by search engines, and it encompasses everyday internet browsing and is available to the general public. So surface web is only about 19 TB in size, nearly about. And the examples like Google, Yahoo, Bing, Firefox, Wikipedia, news sources are there. Then in deep web, hidden but it is benign content, for example, databases, so it protects private accounts and information not meant for public viewing. So the deep net has whooping size of over 7,500 TB. So examples like academic information, medical reports, legal documents, government reports, private databases, and subscription platforms. These are the part of deep web. And in dark web, it requires uh, specialized tools often used for anonymity. So it is an extension of the deep web and operating on encrypted internet connections. So for example, drug and trafficking or the online databases, password protect web, or these are the examples. So then search engine. So the program that documents for specified keywords or phrases and returns a list of documents where the keywords were found. So for example, Google, Yahoo, Bing, Ask, Alta Vista, these are the search engines. So search engine might not search deeply because it dynamically or database driven websites like search engine may have difficulty harvesting non-HTML markup websites. And search engine cannot search password driven sites like EBSCO journal databases or online catalogs. And search engine may have difficulty searching within Adobe Word, PowerPoint, etc. files on the web. So how you can access the dark web? So especially sites allow users to gain access into the dark web. For example, it is the site which is ending in .onion. So it can only be accessed when the user has Tor or I2P or Freenet. So tools like Tor, I2P or Freenet can be used to access the dark web, and that how it works. So the data is routed through multiple encrypted nodes, and content that is only available through specialized anonymizing software Tor. So this includes anonymity, networks, and darknets. So this is a sort of safe where heaven for speech and content which has been banned from the surface web. So the onion router Tor, the Tor is the software protects you by bouncing your communications around a distributed network of relays run by volunteers all around the world. So it prevents somebody watching your internet connection from learning that sites you visit. So it prevents the site you visit from learning your physical location, and it lets you access sites which are blocked. So the Tor is a network that supports onion routing, a way to help make your traffic anonymous. So because the deep web is comprised of information that doesn't show up the search engine or has no domain name registry, you must know exactly where you are going to get there. So how do we get there? So content that is only available through specialized anonyming software like Tor. So this includes anonymity, network, and darknet like peer-to-peer, and it is a sort of safe haven for speech and content which are banned from the surface web. For example, the drugs, CPs, anonymous chat, image boards, illegal transactions, DRM-driven software, weapons, pirated software, media, books, black markets. These are all the examples. So how we access the deep or dark web? So .onion, so through .onion, it is a domain host suffix designating an anonymous hidden service reachable via the Tor network. So the purpose of using such a system is to make both the information provider and the person accessing the information more difficult to trace, whether by one another or by the intermediate network host or by an outsider. So onion addresses are 16 character non-numeric hashes where it is comprised of alphabetic and numeric strings. So the onion name refers to onion routing and the technique used by Tor to achieve a degree of anonymity. So the content that is only available through specialized anonymity software like Tor. So this include anonymity networks and darknets like anonymous peer-to-peer, or these are is a sort of safe haven for speech and content which has been banned from the surface web. Now Bitcoin. So for example, Bitcoin, it is an electronic case system using peer-to-peer networking, digital signatures, and cryptographic proof to enable irreversible payments between parties without relying on trust. So payments are issued and transferred by the Bitcoin network. So how it is different, deep web versus dark web. So you can see in deep web, you can protect information stored online, but in dark web, it makes your online activity anonymous. And in deep web, it can be accessed from anywhere with a specific password or unique link. But in dark web, it can only access with a dark web browser, similarly to the Tor. And in deep web, it makes up about 96% of the internet, but in dark web, the size is unknown. And in deep web, the VPN can help or keep your IP address and identity safe, but in dark web, browsers provide automatic encryption. So, is the deep net or dark net safe? So, deep net is safe, yes, but dark net is no. But you can see in deep net there are much more safety precautions involved in using these deep web browsers. But in dark net, no matter how updated browsers, still have vulnerabilities that can be exploited. For example, in deep net, masking, IP addresses, encryptions are there. But even just in dark net, using your normal email or a regular username can have serious effects, and it never gave you personal information or credit card information. Should be wary when making purchases. In deep net, there are directories that you can use to browse safely in the deep web, and in dark net, it provides additional security in terms of hacking and malware prevention. So the dark web advantages are it contains the information that might not be available on the visible web, and it is specialized content focused, so large amounts of information focused on an exact subject, and it allows the user to find web pages from the specific date or time, also find to precise or answer to a specific question. So the dangers of the dark web. So if you decide to look into the dark web on your own volition, make sure to be careful. It have antivirus protection and be intelligent about what links you click. So that dark web is a heaven for fishes. So if you don't want to see any disturbing images or content, simply browse as text only. And uses of the dark web, the legitimate uses where privacy, journalism, privacy is there, and illegal activities, black markets, stolen data, and illegal services are there. So famous dark web markets are like Silk Road, is already discussed with Saifullah. The first major black market shut down in 2013. Yon market where variety of items and red room where video sharing is there. So this is Silk Road, and another is Alpha Bay and Hansa, which is successor market, also shut down, and the current markets were continually evolving to avoid detection. So anonymity and privacy were importance of encryption to routes data for anonymity. So risks are not foolproof and users may still be tracked. Law enforcement and the dark web, where the major operations like FBI, Europol, and Operation Anonymous and techniques are de-anonymizing, tracking, digital trails are there. Then ethical and legal considerations where debate privacy for journalists versus illegal activities, or the legal implications like wearing laws, illegal material possession. The solution is, you can see the 71% of 24,000 individuals stated that they want the dark web to be shut down by the government, but government can check online markets, so develop software to track and decipher dark trade preventions. So the deep web, where the parts of the internet not indexed by search engines like online databases, medical, academic, or password protected websites, subscription based services. So the deep web is legitimate and widely used. So a subset of deep web is the dark web. requiring specific software like Tor, and the Tor, which is the onion router, which is used to access or I2P or freenet. So the dark web is associated with illegal activity, but also has privacy benefits for legitimate users. So myths versus reality. Now this is the main topic where you can see the myths are there. The first myth is that the dark web is all illegal. What it means? It means the dark web is used only for illegal activities. This is the myth. So reality where the criminal activities exist, but the dark web is also used for whistleblowing or like, for example, WikiLeaks, or the journalist and activities avoiding censorship or privacy protection for individuals in repressive regimes. So, for example, the New York Times has the dark web version. Another myth two, which is the dark web is the same as the deep web. This is the myth. Because the dark web and deep web are the same, this is the myth. The reality is the deep web includes content not indexed by search engine, but in dark web, a hidden part of deep web access through the special tools. The key point is that the most of the deep web is legitimate, and dark web is just a small part of it. Third myth, where you can be arrested just for visiting the dark web. So this is simply the myth. And simply visiting the dark web is illegal. This is myth. Because the reality is that the accessing the dark web is legal in most countries, engaging in illegal activities is not. But the key point is that it's important to know what you are doing to avoid legal issues. The fourth myth is the dark web is only for hackers and criminals. So this is the myth. The dark web is only populated by hackers and criminals. But the reality is that the hackers and criminals do use the dark web, but so do activists, or privacy advocates and whistleblowers. So the key point is that make use it for legitimate reasons like avoiding censorship. The realities of the dark web is the legitimate uses should be there, means free speech in oppressive countries, whistleblowing like, for example, Snowden, or privacy focused services, and illegal uses like black markets, drugs, weapons, stolen data like identity theft, or cybercrime like hacking tools and ransomware. So ethical and legal considerations are legal risks are like purchasing illegal goods or accessing prohibited content or involvement in cybercrime. So ethical questions like privacy versus enabling illegal activities and freedom of speech versus dark web danger. So safe navigation tips like using Tor safely, download from its official site, and use a VPN and avoid sharing personal information. Red flags like sites offering illegal goods and forums promoting illegal activity. So dark web monitoring personal and corporate security. So to monitor for stolen credentials, comprise data and tools like dark web monitoring services, and be proactive, especially after data breaches. So the deep web and dark web are distinct, and the dark web makes exaggerate risk and important to stay informed and use caution and stay ethical and legal while navigating. So the dark web has both legitimate and illegal uses, and balancing privacy and security is the key challenge for the future. So a dark web alert is a type of security notification. It informs you that your sensitive information such as credit card number or phone number or login credentials, email account, home addresses, and other personal identifiable information has surfaced somewhere on the dark web. So the future of the dark web where technology, the stronger encryption and quantum computing make the dark web more stronger, and the regulation growing, monitoring and international collaboration should be there. So these are the general questions and answers. What is the difference between deep web and dark web? So as I already stated that deep web refers to the broad swath of the internet that traditional search engines are unable to access, including password protected web forums, chat services, file sharing, and P2P technologies. While the dark web is a subcomponent of the deep web, that is not only inaccessible to mainstream search engine, but only visible to users who have installed specialized software enabling access. And why can't you use the surface web browsers and search engine to enter the deep web? Because using a regular web browser would not protect your identity. It can arouse suspicion in the law. So Tor is exceptionally good because the several layers of encryption can be used. So using a search engine such as Google is fertile and it cannot index or retrieve that amount of data is accessed to DNS services. So the dark web and deep web itself have their own challenges. And the illegal and legal activities that can done in the deep web is the prostitution, drug deals, hitman services, and legal are generally accessible vulnerable and risky. So this is all from my side. Thank you. Anyone have any query? I am happy to address.
Thank you, Dr. Pankaj. You helped us to really clear up the myths about the dark web being only, for criminal activity and so on. That was very enlightening to know. And the floor is now open now for questions to Dr. Pankaj on his presentation. And you can type in the chat or you can open your mic. And I think, we don't have a flood of questions. So please type in the chat or open your mic and ask your question or make a comment. In the meantime, Dr. Pankaj,
Yes, ma'am.
could you say if students have been vulnerable to the dark web and what sorts of situations they find themselves into? Those who are just curious.
Yes. So you can see the vulnerable situations, like students can face a variety of vulnerable situations, including academic and social risk, as well as environmental factors. Like academic risk, the student may struggle with material or feel that their peers and instructors doubt their abilities, and they may also be at risk of dropping out or failing school. Social risk, like students may face poverty, exclusion, or mental illness. Environmental factors, like students may be homeless or exposed to mistreatment. Special education needs, like students may have special education and disabilities. Behavioral difficulties, like such as obsessive and compulsive disorder or emotional disturbance. Family situations also should be there. Maybe the students may have caregivers who are unable or unwilling to care for them. So they may also have parents who are alcoholic or poor or emotionally dispersed. So these are the various vulnerability situations for the students.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that and raising our awareness to the persons who are vulnerable. I'm seeing in the chat persons are asking to share your presentation. All the presenters' presentations, the video of all the presentations would be on the World Resources webinar shortly after, and you can access it there. So no hesitation. The entire workshop is shared on the World Resources website. Dr. Krishnan, could you put that the World Resources website link in the chat, please?
Yeah, I will do it. I will do it.
Yes, please. And I'm seeing you have gotten a lot of comments. Nice presentation, great presentation. So thank you very much, Dr. Pankaj, for your presentation. So our last presenter is unable to be with us in person, but he has sent his presentation in a video, which I will share. And I will now just give you an introduction to Professor Noor Zaman. He is a highly esteemed senior professor of computer science, specializing in artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. He currently holds the position of professor at the School of Computer Science at Taylor's University, Malaysia, and serves as the program director for the postgraduate research degree programs, as well as the director of the Center for Smart Society. With a career marked by academic leadership and groundbreaking research, he has been pivotal in advancing research and education in computer science. Recognized globally, Professor Noor has been ranked among the world's top 2% research scientists for the consecutive years of 2022, 2023, and 2024. In Malaysia, he is ranked among the top 3 computer scientists and was honored by MDEC Malaysia in 2022 for his performance, as well as he was given the Vice Chancellor's Award from Taylor's University in 2023. This impressive academic portfolio of Prof. Noor includes 60 edited or authored research books in prestigious publishers such as Taylor and Francis and IGI Global, and he has delivered over 60 invited talks at international conferences. He holds associate editor and editorial board positions with several high-ranking journals, including Frontiers in Communication and Network. His research has garnered over 1,000 points in impact factor, and he has supervised and continues to co-supervise over 38 postgraduate students to successful completion, and he serves as an external examiner for over 60 PhD and master's students globally. His presentation, which would be in the form of a video, is entitled Emerging Threats from the Dark Web, Future Trends in Cybercrime and Data Breaches. I will now share my screen and present to you his presentation. And I will remind you, please, to keep your mics closed to avoid any distractions during the video.
Dr. Debra, we cannot hear the volume. Can you replay? Yeah. Dr. Debra, we are unable to hear the volume of Dr. Noor.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
I have to put the volume on. Sorry about that.
Yes, hello to everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. myself, Dr. Noor Zaman, Jhanjhi is here with you. I'm the professor at the Taylor's University and the program director for the School of Computer Science for the postgraduate research degree programs. Here is my link. You can find out the details from here. Today, our topic is that we will be discussing about the emerging threats from the dark web, future trends in cybercrime, and especially related to the data breaches. So this is a very critical time now because we know that it is actually a lot of the different threats we are already facing due to the new trending technology trends for the AI and the generative AI, which is actually it's being used by the right teams at a very different level, and then there are a lot of the different issues and challenges they are already waiting for us. Beside that, we can see that the dark web, that is another future trend, which is moving very faster, and it is posing a lot of the different threats and vulnerabilities to the individuals, customers, people, and the corporate sectors as well. So for having a discussion that we need to understand that what these things are, so we need to understand actually that what's the risk and vulnerabilities and the threats and the rest of the things, like suppose the principles of the least privileges. So these are the core concepts we need to manage. If we are able to manage them, then it is more easy for us to keep the things in our, and that will be able to protect us from so many different vulnerabilities. Like the dark web is one of the vulnerability. So if we just see from here that one of the handbook what it refer that you cannot or you can never protect yourself 100%. So this is the fact we need to understand, and we need to realize that in this cybersecurity world, it is not possible that we are able to manage and protect ourselves 100%, which is not possible at any cost. But then what we can do, that we can protect ourselves by doing the possible mitigation. So we can do for the possible maximum mitigation that can reduce our risk, and that can save from so many threats to us, and that can protect us from the different sort of the vulnerabilities. So these are the principles, if suppose we will be following, and we as a corporate world, we can provide the privileges, like what privileges are only essential for the operations. That is the thing which can actually help us to control and manage the things. So these are the different challenges and the threat landscape, if suppose we see from the insiders and from the people who are involved in hackings, and from the national level and from the state level as well. So these threats are at different levels. So insider threat is one of the most critical threat. Now, when we talk about the inside threat, it is a very heavily having impactful, but this group can be again identified and defined into the two different groups. One is that the insider attacks, it doesn't mean that they are actually potential attackers, a potential intruder, a potential people who are going to damage. But that is the group, the second part of the people, that is the group which are actually not aware about the cyber awareness of how to use the systems. They might be being used by the hackers for the different activities, say for example for the phishing attacks, say for example for the different approaches for clicking the links. In case you suppose they are not well aware about the cyber sort of the things that how they are supposed to use, then this type and the means related to these activities may be posed by them. The second criminals activities are done by the hackers, like where we have a lot of the different groups of the people, and we call them the different group of the attackers type that they are involved in too many things that they can bring the threats to the companies. Then we look for the nation sites at the state level. So this is another level of the attacks that is actually bringing a lot of the challenges for us. And here again, it involves the unethical activities, the hackers activities, and there are so many things as well. So going ahead to respect the time, we can see that the high stake of the cybercrime are what if we can find a lot of the different, the point of view. That point of view is from, we can see the Forbes, that can be from the Gartner, that can be from FBI, that can be from different cybersecurity ventures, from IBM Security. So we can find out a lot of the different facts and figures that can be provided, at how much impact and how much volume is increasing day by day, and how much it is critical for us to manage these things. So we can have a look for the statistical data. We can see that the biggest data breaches in the history, and we know that why the biggest means the data breaches are there, because the data is actually a lifeline. Nowadays, the data is, the protection of the data is actually a lifeline. We only depend on that. We only depend on that if suppose it's protected, then only we are able to protect our businesses and the trust of our user as well. Anyhow, coming back, so we can see from here that the biggest data breaches in the history, like suppose Yahoo is the one which is impacted, and we can see that the online, there are so many operations, so they are also got compromised. Then we can see the Twitter, and we can see the Microsoft and Facebook. Why we are just naming for the very well-known companies, we are focusing on that we know that these companies, they have a very high level of the security mechanisms. They do have all the things that can be handled, or that can be controlled, can be managed. But even though they are not able to protect them, so this is actually a global challenge. And then we need to think about that, and how we can be able to face that challenges. So now all of the data breaches are very costly. If we see from in the past, like suppose 1 decade or more than 1 decade before, or we can see from that current, that is very costly. So the cost here, what we see, that cost we cannot measure in terms of the money, but in terms of the cost can be made in terms of the confidence of the customer to us as a company, or as what we can say. That is the more challenging job for us. So this is the fraud triangle versus the cyber resilience. So we can see from here, maybe I just can take a highlighter. So this is our fraud triangle. This is, we can see that there are a lot of the opportunities. Then the motivation is there because a lot of the money, easy money is there, and there are a lot of the rationalization with this one. So opportunity we can see from here, it is at the higher level. The reason is, in case if suppose the people are the users, the single users, the industry user or the corporate user, if they are not trained, they are not well trained, then it is easy to grab them. And we can see about the what's the triangle for the security. That's the confidentiality, availability, and integrity. So these are the challenges that we need to maintain the cyber resilience. So if we go to the next slide, we can see that this is very interesting statistics, which provide us the different data, and we can see that how these things are very challenging. Now, when we talk about when we talk about the threat acquisition, we can see about the hackers. They can find out there are so many ways. Means these are not the few things, but we can say that these are the only ways they can be able to. Like you can see for phishing attacks, we can see for the adware, for spoofing, we can see the malware, we can see the man in the middle attack, and a lot of the DDoS, ransomware, a lot of the things. These all are the approaches they are using to access the people, access our systems as well. So when we look for this, and we can find out that how these things are important for us. So we can find out that the a perspective may be different, but this is very important. Like suppose we can say the adversary, and that can motivate, and what are the targets and what are the impacts. So these are the general things. Like suppose we can see the economic and the finance, and the money is the most point where the attackers are attracted. So why they are looking for that, why they're breaching the data, why they're doing all the activities just to get it done, just for the sake of the money. So a lot of the monetary benefits, they can attract them to do that. So from this, another figure that can shows us that the different colors, they are showing the drop of the 23% since the company discloses the cyber attacks in 14. So how much we can see the company face the loss. So from here 160, and it reaches to the 125, and this is in a very less amount of the time. So how and why? Because the reason is that the company got exposed to the cyber attacks. So the customers they lost their interest a lot. So the customers, they can lost their interest in case if suppose the things are not in order, in case if the things are not at the required level. So this is how, this is very critical for us. So these are the attacks what we are focusing. They are in our routine pattern. But now another level of the threat, what we can call, that's the deep web. So deep web and the dark web, these are the concept what we need to understand, because the dark web is a way, is a level where all of these things, when hackers hack the information, and that's the point where they are publicly selling them the information. So that is completely against the what we can say the company. So we can see from here. For that, we need to understand it is point of view that what it is. So we can see that this is the outside and this is the inside. That is for the deep web iceberg. So we can see that the 4% of the surface web is only there with what we are using. So that percentage is very low, but the 96% is actually the deep and the dark web. So we know that the deep web is actually for the corporate and for the data and for their backups and for these things, and a part of the cloud as well. But this is very critical. This is very critical. That is what is the most part which goes for the dark web, which is a very what we can say alarming part. So we can see from the this perspective. So the surface web is lying here, which is out of the web, and 90% is actually, it goes for the dark web, and this is the deep web, and then it goes for the dark web. So this is actually a very much concerning and very much alarming and very much critical as well for our security and for all of other reasons, right? So now if we look from the other perspective, that how it is the unconsciously the people, they are using they are becoming the victim for the attacks, and how their data is going to be taken from them, and how that data is going to be reached approached to the level of the dark web, and how it is going to be sale and available. We know, everyone we knows that it is not easy for the common user to access to the dark deep web, and especially for the dark web, because for that we need to have a very separate explorer that is called as an onion. Through that we can be able to access. But there are a lot of the different activities, those with unethical and illegal activities, we can find them there at the dark web. So it has a lot of the risk, and all these factors are there. So from other perspective, we can see from here that in this there are a lot of the different things, okay, which can be found there. But now the point is how they are reaching, how our data is going to be reached there, and what are the trends. So the hackers, they are trying to get a lot of the data, and they breach the data, and they are using our weak links. The weak links are the employees, weak links are the phishing attacks, weak links are the different other attacks that, like what we already mentioned, utilizing those weak links, and then they are getting the access to the owning of the system, and then they try to publish the data and to produce the data available for the for the sale. A lot of the data, like suppose we can quote one example here. Recently, one of the very popular banks from Malaysia, their data was a part of the data, but the customer data was available at the dark web. Somehow, anyhow, the banking that bank actually control and manage the things. But just because of that time is spent and that news, it was spreaded among the people, that has a lot of the damaging impact for the that particular bank, and they lost a big number of the customers from their share. So this is how, this is very important, that we need to manage that, how these things are manageable, how we can be able to protect them before they are just going to be public, before they are going to reach and available to the as at the dark web, and it can be the public there, because a lot of the illegal activities and a lot of the things like that, they are available there. So we can conclude for our today's session in a way that how and what ways and what methods we are supposed to use, as we can be able to protect ourselves from the different sort of the attacks and from the different methods of the attacks, and we can protect ourselves from the hackers. So our data may not be breached. And in case it was breached, then that's the only way, that's the only source that our data can be later available to the dark web. So I hope that we learn what is the major concern from the emerging dark web issues and the challenges related to the cybersecurity. So thank you very much for this opportunity. If you guys has any question or you want to know about the more threats and vulnerabilities related to the cybersecurity and more particularly about the dark web, we know that this actually session is not purely not related to the dark web, but it was as an emerging attack. So we just try to discuss about that perspective. But anyone to know more about that, so we are open. You can approach at the email is given here. So my email is given here. You can contact at any time. Thank you very much once again for your time and for listening. Thank you and goodbye.
Dr. Debra?
Yes, please. So that was the video by Prof. Noor, very insightful. It will be uploaded to the World Resources webinar website. And if you have any questions, you can place them in the chat and we will certainly forward them to Professor Noor. I will now put the attendance link in the chat. So please remember to fill it in so that we can send you your participation certificate. I am pasting it in now. You can just copy it and fill in the attendance form. Any other questions or comments before we close off? Dr. Krishnan, do you have any comments on the last presentation?
No, Dr. Debra.
Okay. I'm not seeing any comments in chat. So at this point, we would like to thank on behalf of the World Resources webinar, the presenters for sharing their expertise and experience with the dark web. Certainly, they have shed a lot of light on this dark web. I myself, I would say I wasn't aware of the extent of the dark web and its users and the challenges and the threats. So we are now better informed about it, and we can take the precaution that is needed. And I'd like to thank also our intern, Sandrine Williams from the University of the West Indies. She did a lot of the background work to have this webinar all organized. And so thank you, Sandrine. And we look forward to some of your support again in upcoming webinars. I'd like to thank you, the participants, for coming in. I'm seeing we have 46 participants from all over the globe. We hope that this was very informative for you and you'd continue to come back to the World Resources webinar. And Dr. Krishnan, okay, I think we have a question. Do we have a question coming in?
No really question, ma. The link you sent is not accepting attendance.
Oh, it's not
Refresh
accepted.
again. Refresh again, you will get it.
Okay, should I post it again, Dr. Krishnan, or it's just a
not
refresh?
required, Debra. It's a problem with the internet. If they
Okay.
refresh, they will open.
Okay, so just refresh and it will open. Okay, we'll hold on just to ensure that you can access the form. So please let us know if when you refreshed, you were able to fill it in.
Please give your feedback if it's opening.
And in the meantime, Dr. Krishnan, we want to thank you ever so much. We know you have a very busy schedule, and so it's always very heartening the amount of work you put in in the background, getting the experts and keeping us all organized so that we can have a smooth presentation. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Debra. Thank you, Sandrine. Thank you, experts, everyone, for coming and making this a wonderful event. We'll close the link, Dr. Debra.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice time. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.